25.23 is one of the bigger patches we've seen all season as the new top laner Zaahen is being released, 7 off-meta junglers are receiving buffs, while OP ADCs from last patch in Jinx and Ashe are on the nerf list. So we're here to break it all down for you guys and get you all set up for when 25.23 hits the live servers this upcoming Wednesday, November 19th. And with this season coming to a close, if you want to rank up the fastest, there is no better place to be than Skill Capped. First, start with any of our fundamental courses like macro, wave control, and trading to boost your general game knowledge, then dive straight into our brand new Season 15 courses from Coach Rogue and Coach Chippy, along with our newly updated Jungle Clear course that covers the fastest clear for every single jungler in the game. And if that's not enough, every single week we upload 10 brand new full game commentaries where our challenger experts teach you how to climb out of the exact rank that you're stuck in. Listen, we're so confident in the quality of our content that we have to offer at Skill Cap that we don't hide away from anything and offer you a 5-division rank up guarantee. Climb at least 5 divisions while actively using Skill Capped or get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and get your rank climb accelerated today. So starting with a brief rundown of the new champion Zaahen. He is going to be a top lane fighter. His passive grants him stacks and each stack provides bonus AD. When you reach a max of 12 stacks, you gain a mass amount of AD and also a revive if you end up dying while on 12 stacks. Q is an auto reset and provides a knockup. W is a pull, kind of similar to Pike Q. E is a mobility spell that has a slashing damage effect once the dash completes. And then R is also a mobility spell that provides you with massive armor pin. You become unstoppable during use and heal for a percentage of the damage you dealt prior to using R. So for a more extensive breakdown of Zaahen, we do have a very special video plan for you guys that's going to be released on the official League of Legends YouTube channel next week, so be on the lookout for that. Tank junglers are going to receive a nice indirect buff for this patch, with the monster damage being increased on Sunfire's passive from 160 to 200%. So Zac, Amumu, Rammus, and Sejuani have been building Sunfire the most in recent patches, so they're going to be seeing the biggest indirect boosts. Aatrox may be looking to make his way into the jungle for this patch, as Riot is going to be buffing his passive monster damage cap, going from 100 flat to 100, scaling to 320. On top of this, Q is also going to deal 40 bonus damage to monsters, so some pretty solid buffs overall, and we are going to definitely have to keep track of Aatrox's performance in the jungle when 25.23 hits live servers. Ambessa is going to receive a jungle buff for this patch, albeit not as impactful as what we're seeing for Aatrox, as her Q bonus monster damage is up from 125 to 150. A small Ahri buff is being issued for this patch, with her W subsequent hit damage being increased from 30 to 40%. Cho'Gath is going to be buffed for this patch, but right now we have no idea exactly how much, because Riot made a typo on their patch preview post. Jayce jungle is going to become slightly more viable, with his melee and ranged Q now dealing 50 bonus monster damage. Jhin is going to receive a couple of buffs for 25.23, with his base AD going up from 59 to 61. Crit movement speed attack speed ratio is being increased from 40% to 44%, and W base damage is going up by 10 at all ranks. Malphite jungle may actually be a viable pick moving forward, as Riot intends to heavily buff his W damage to monsters, going from 100 to 200% increased damage. A misfortune buff is penciled in, with her R/AD ratio going up from 75 to 80% per wave of R. Ornn is next up on the jungle buff list, with his W active monster cap going from 155 scaling to 255 to 260 scaling to 500. W passive monster cap is up as well from 250 to 260 scaling to 500. Top lane Rek'Sai is going to become weaker for this patch, with her fury gain from minions dropping from 5 to 4, and passive max health healing is going down from 10 scaling to 20% to 9 scaling to 20%. Riven is going to see more viability in the jungle moving forward, as her passive will now deal 50 bonus damage to monsters. Sion jungle is going to become slightly stronger, as Riot is buffing his Q monster damage, going from 150 to 165%. Riot missed big time with the Skarner Buffs last patch, so he actually ended up losing win rate, so they're back again in 25.23 with some additional buffs. AD growth is up from 4 to 5, Q max health damage is being increased from 8 to 9%, and Q cooldown is dropping from 8 scaling to 4 seconds to 8 scaling to 3 seconds. Riot has a few buffs planned for Swain, with his E base damage going up from 80 scaling to 240 to 90 scaling to 250, and mana cost is dropping from 60 scaling to 80 to 50 scaling to 70. We've got a Tristana buff on the way, with her AD growth being increased from 2.5 to 2.9. Riot has really been liking these AD growth buffs for ADCs lately, as we've seen the same change for Ashe, Kalista, and Ezreal over the past few patches. Each of those champs saw their win rate increase by around 1% from that buff, so we can expect something similar for Trist. Xayah will be given some additional damage on her passive, with Feather AD ratio going up from 30 scaling to 50 to 35 scaling to 55%. Zeri is going to be buffed so that her R movement speed per stack is up from 0.5 to 1%. Ashe has been the #1 solo Q ADC in recent patches, so a nerf is on the way, with her Q attack speed ratio dropping from 25 scaling to 75% to 20 scaling to 60%. Caitlyn is going to receive a nerf to her headshot damage, as the AD ratio is dropping from 60 scaling to 120 to 60 scaling to 100%. Non-champion headshot AD ratio is also down from 110 scaling to 120% to 110% flat. Two changes are in order for Hwei, as his QE total damage is going from 70 scaling to 350 to 70 scaling to 280. QE AP ratio is going up though from 80 to 90%. A couple of Jinx nerfs are on the way, with her R max damage being reduced by 50 at all ranks. The bonus AD ratio is going down as well from 155 to 130%. Two nerfs are hitting Xayah for this patch, with her base armor being reduced from 27 to 25. R cooldown is going up from 120 scaling to 60 seconds to 130 scaling to 70 seconds. Now, if you guys watched Worlds this year, then you would have seen some of the egregious Neeko tower dives, where she turns into a cannon minion and tanks 1,000 tower shots. But that ain't gonna be a thing anymore, because as soon as you take damage from a tower, you're now gonna transform back into Neeko. Vlad is on the nerf list for this patch, with his base health going down from 607 to 600 and base armor dropping from 27 to 24. So pretty minor nerfs overall. There's kind of an odd chance here that Fizz jungle could be a thing moving forward, as his passive is now going to grant 10 bonus damage reduction against monsters. W attacks are now going to deal 60 bonus damage to monsters. However, our cooldown is going up from 100 scaling to 70 seconds to 120 scaling to 80 seconds. And armor is going up from 22 to 26. So this is either going to be a slight nerf or power neutral change from mid lane Fizz, where jungle Fizz gets quite a bit better. A few damage buffs in exchange for less utility is how Riot's targeting Mel for 25.23. Passive base damage is being increased from 24 scaling to 99 to 24 scaling to 150. Passive AP ratio is up as well from 9 to 15%, while E root duration is dropping from 1.25 scaling to 2.25 seconds to 1.2 scaling to 1.6 seconds. There are two adjustments for Mundo this patch, with his E getting a bug fix so that the active damage has a 1.4 multiplier when Mundo is at 70% missing health instead of at 30%. And then E passive max health, the bonus AD conversion, is going from 2 scaling to 2.8% to 2 scaling to 3.2%. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in Skillcapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcap.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, everyone. Those are all of the changes we can expect to hit live servers for this upcoming Wednesday, November 19th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.